Here it is, kids. There's a good old-fashioned placeholder that we haven't seen in a long time. Sent to me in the mail quite a while ago by my pal Sean Mosher from way, way up in the northern parts of Connecticut several years ago. It does indeed say Tent Talks Tunes, which means really there's no mystery whatsoever as to what you're seeing and who is behind the placeholder. So I might as well just go ahead and spill the beans and drop the bomb and drop the ball and say, hey guys, it's me, Malcolm Tent, bringing you this week's episode of, you already guessed it, and even if you hadn't, I already told you, Tent Talks Tunes. And we are live, we are flowing through the ether, we are flowing through the airwaves. We got Alan Versapalis first in the house as usual. I'm seeing some hearts, I'm seeing some thumbs. Good to be here, guys. Every 168 hours, I do my absolute best to park myself in front of my cheap-ass streaming camera to bring you many words of tent on Tent Talks Tunes. That's right, every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. on the Facebook and archived forevermore for as long as there is an internet and as long as there's enough hard drive space over at YouTube to host episodes of Tent Talks Tunes, which of course is my reminder to remind you that I do have the YouTube channel, and it has many, if not all, episodes of Tent Talks Tunes archived, along with some exciting live performance footage, my award-winning G.G. Allen psychological profile, some of my favorite playlists. I've got a really cool Christmas music playlist on my channel, a wrestling playlist, just all kinds of fun stuff. So if you want to go and check it out, just look me up, Malcolm Tent, on the YouTube. Like it, subscribe it. I don't know what happens if you like it and subscribe it, but everybody seems to think it's a good idea to like it and subscribe it. So go ahead and like it. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Maybe we'll all get rich someday as a result thereof. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure you do. Adam Zister is in the house saying that he finally gets to watch it live. Well, welcome aboard, Adam. I'm glad to see that you're not doing whatever it is you do on a Wednesday that would preclude you from watching Tent Talks Tunes in the flesh, in the real, in the raw, in the now, the way I like to do it. Welcome. Welcome aboard, everybody. All right, let's get right down to the brass gritty of the situation, shall we? Normally, I like to do the mail call and the bulletin board before we get into the Tent Talks Tunes tunage. The mailbox has been quite empty this week, except for a couple of very nice Christmas cards. I got some Christmas cards from some friends and some fans. And I actually did get, do I have it nearby? Yes, I have it over here. I got this one cryptic card. I would say from parts unknown and weight unknown, but I do know that the parts of the country that this thing came from was Westchester, New York. It's got a postmark on the front from Westchester, New York. And on the back, we have a very neatly written, yet somewhat enigmatic screed. It says, Tent Talks Tunes, but does Tent talk? And you'll notice that my finger is very strategically placed over the middle of that word. Because I'm sure you've heard the old saying, speak of the devil and he shall appear. Well, we're not going to tempt fate by saying the full word that lies under my finger. All I'm going to say is that as you can see, it starts with an H, it ends with a K. And in the middle, you have the syllable that's pronounced uck. U-C. Uck. And if anybody ever shopped at my brick and mortar store, Trash American style, or has known me for a long time, you'll know exactly what this word is. You know exactly who this is. You know exactly why I don't want to say the full name, because I don't want the individual to appear. So the very, very long answer I just provided to this short question is, no, I do not. I will talk tunes day and night, any time zone across the world, almost any topic relating to music, but I will not talk H blank K. I just won't. I've had a very good run of several months without that guy popping up to plague me. And I'd like to keep that going for as long as I possibly can. So, no. Thanks for asking, but no. All right, that's the mail. Here's the bulletin board. We got some things happening in the fairly near future. I keep thinking about these events as occurring in 2026. And so in my mind, 2026 is next year. So if it's next year, it's a long ways away. But no, 2026 is about 2 weeks away. And this first event on the bulletin board is only a little more than 2 weeks away, which means I really should start practicing my set, because I am playing a live solo acoustic gig, which I don't do too often these days, but I'll be very happy to dust off the old Starvation box and play a live show at the Rooster in Gastonia, North Carolina, with my old compadre from They Hate Us. Oh yes, They Hate Us, the New England punk rock supergroup that I was and quite possibly still am in. I'm not really sure what the status is of They Hate Us. They Hate Us goes on periodic hiatuses, but They Hate Us always come back from hiatus. So I'm just sort of waiting for the call to come through. Long story short, my pal Mike Dietz, who's the bass player for They Hate Us, has a band called RBNX, and they are on tour from Putnam County, New York. They will be at the Rooster on January 2nd. I'm playing a solo acoustic set. The Van Huskins, a fine rockin' combo from Charlotte, will be on the bill. And also Negative Racks, who I know nothing about, but I will be happy to report in full what they're all about after January 2nd. So, all ages show. I don't know the order of the bands, but I'm playing sometime during the night. And it's cheap. It's $10 in advance, $15 at the door. And what can I say? When I sit down on the stage, I endeavor to be really damn good. As they would say in Germany in the early 1960s, I like to mach schau. I'm not a singer-songwriter. I don't sit there staring at my feet. I don't spend the entire duration of my set hoping that you like me or wishing that you liked my songs. No, when I sit down on the stage, I approach it as a rock concert. It's loud, it's aggressive, I try to be funny, we have a lot of fun, it's very engaging, so think about that. January 2nd, at the Rooster in Gastonia, North Kakalaka. A few days after that, oh my gosh, January 10th in Hotlanta, GA, there is a 2-day Super Gala blowout celebrating the 85th birthday of Abdullah the Butcher, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. I'm not talking sports entertainers, I'm talking about professional wrestlers. You could say wrestlers if you want to use the vernacular. There's a huge difference between a wrestler and a sports entertainer. I'm not much of a fan of sports entertainment, but I do love my wrestling. And Abdullah the Butcher, when I was a wee tot, was absolutely the most hated wrestler. Hated Abdullah the Butcher. I hated Abdullah the Butcher more than I hated the Assassin. I hated him more than I hated Ernie Ladd. I hated him more than I hated Bob Roop. I hated him more than I hated Buddy Colt. I mean, we're talking about a lot of hate here. And it was all directed at Mr. Abdullah the Butcher himself. So you could have knocked me over with a feather when Anti-Scene, the band who I joined and moved to North Carolina to be a full-time member of, when Anti-Scene was playing Atlanta, GA, and the fevered call came from the front door that Abdullah the Butcher himself was in attendance, and he came to see us. Why? Because we have a song about Abdullah the Butcher called Dear Abby, and he heard about it and wanted to come down and check it out for himself. And that was easily one of the highlights of my entire rock and roll career, bar none. And I've been doing this for a long time. Long time. But to have Abdullah the Butcher come to my, and I use that term loosely because I am just a member of the band, but you know what I'm saying, my show, to see us play a song about him, and not only that, but hang around backstage and talk and sign autographs and I mean, I just never would have dreamed such a thing possible. So, lo and behold, now we have a bit of a friendly working relationship with Mr. Abdullah the Butcher and his people, and we've been invited to play his 85th birthday party. Yeah! So we're going to be doing that. It's a 2-night affair. The first night is the 9th, featuring a question and answer session with Mr. Abdullah the Butcher himself, which is, I don't know if it's completely unprecedented. I've never heard of it happening because Abdullah's whole angle was that he didn't talk. You know, he spoke no English. He was the madman from the Sudan. So I don't know if he ever broke character during his career in the US of A, but he's going to do so on January 9th, a live question and answer session with Abdullah the Butcher. I really hope I'm there for that. I will definitely be there the next night because we're playing, the N Da Funk Band is playing, and who's the other band on the bill? I'm sorry, N Da Groove Band, and us, and Windsor Jones. So it's going to be a real mixed night of entertainment for all of you people in celebration of Abdullah the Butcher's 85th trip around the sun. So I'm really stoked. I'm really happy. Check out the Facebook. There is an event page for it. I'll be sending out invites over the next couple of days, posting it on my page, etc., etc. Probably the same for the Rooster Show. I haven't seen an event yet, but if there isn't one, I'll make an event. And if you're anywhere in the greater Charlotte area, you can expect an invite from me, personally, Malcolm Tent, the guy you're watching right now on Tent Talks Tunes. And I'm going to heist a big old jug of Hickory Tap to that. Kyle Murring was there in Atlanta. He says it was a great show. Thank you for that. And the Star Bar does rule. The Star Bar is like, we were informed the first time that we played Star Bar. Management of the Star Bar came up to us personally and looked us in the collective anti-scene eye and said, if you guys are playing Atlanta again, we want you to play here. Consider Star Bar your home in Atlanta. And we were very happy to say yes, because we like the Star Bar quite a bit. Not only is it a great room, but for yours truly, there's awesome amenities in the immediate neighborhood. It's right there in Little Five Points in Atlanta, which ever since I first started traveling to Atlanta back in the mid-'80s, Little Five Points was it. It was a happening place, and it still is. So within walking distance of the Star Bar, for me, there's 2 world-class record stores, a full vegan restaurant / grocery store, a pizza place that is all vegan. I mean, why would I ever want to leave there, you know? It's fantastic. So I'm already looking forward to the next chance we have to play the Star Bar. And Kyle, you are so right about that. Let's see. Moose Roberts is tuned in. Hello, Moose. And we got Nick LaBalbo. He says, he loves They Hate Us. Not sure who they is, but it ain't me. You know what? Somehow that makes a lot of sense, Nick. Nick, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, yeah. All right. I will just do a little aside before we start talking tunes here. I had a real really fun night last night. Me and Pissy Chrissy, TPOS recording artist. Pissy Chrissy and I went to Snug Harbor in Charlotte, North Carolina to see my old pals I Hate God from New Orleans, Louisiana. I Hate God, great band, good dudes, also TPOS recording artists. Bet you didn't know that. Just got a chance to go out and see a show as a civilian, which I don't do very often these days. But real fun night. Just great hanging out with those guys and being rocked out by them. The opening act from New Orleans called D Sablou. That's the initial D in the word Sablou. Kind of like Sabu the wrestler, but with an L. They were great. They were just like, as Chrissy said, like a bunch of English teachers on stage, completely foaming at the mouth and being punk rock to the extreme. They were great. And I'm so going to try to remember the name of the band who opened. They were from Fayetteville. It was something Cult. God, and I just cannot remember. But they were really good too. Just straight ahead, no nonsense metal. Like Metallica style before it was embarrassing to admit that Metallica was any good. Straightforward, mid-'80s, chugging metal. So it was a really, really good night. It's one of those nights where every band was great, and saw some pals there and some friends, and good atmosphere, really good time, lots of fun. My entire body is still vibrating from the sheer amount of volume that I Hate God put out. So I'm always in a good mood. I'm in a particularly good mood tonight because I got rock and roll ringing in my ears, and I got a stack of stuff to flog for you, the well-educated consumer. Because as we know, today's the 18th. Commerce Day is 1 week away, and you're thinking, what's Commerce Day? Well, Commerce Day is a day of retail celebration that occurs every year on December 25th. There is a long build-up to Commerce Day and a rapid wind down from Commerce Day. But guys like myself who make our living by selling stuff attempt to maximize our return around the Commerce Day season. So I'm definitely not a guy who jumps on bandwagons. I really try to be a leader, not a follower, a maker, not a taker. But, you know, I'm always happy to jump on a trendy-ass bandwagon if I think I can make some money from it. Some money, honey. Some of that long green. Some of the stuff that Captain Beefheart wanted to get when he made the album Unconditionally Guaranteed. Yes, even the good captain himself was not ashamed to take out that rake and try to drag some of that moolah in his direction. And I don't know what his excuse is, but my excuse, or at least one of them, is sitting on the floor right here next to my ankle, and I'm going to share with you guys the presence of the one, of the only, the most lovable, adorable, fine, furry, fuzzy, fang-faced, ferocious yet felicitous fellow, Harry the cat. Oh my God, there he is. It's a pretty safe bet that when he hears me sitting, hears me in the studio, sees me sitting going blah, 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 blah. See? He comes in and joins us for a cameo appearance here on Tent Talks Tunes. This guy, man, he consumes a lot of cat food, a lot of cat litter, a lot of catnip. When you think about it, I consume a lot of food too. And I got some bills as well. So at least a portion of all sales for this year's Commerce Day season go to keep this cute little guy alive. And by the way, there are people who've ordered Harry the Cat CDs recently, including several overseas customers. Your orders are being packed and filled tonight, and they will be going out tomorrow. So if you're watching, and I owe you a Harry the Cat CD, which comes with a free Harry the Cat paper bag hand puppet kit, please do not despair. It's on the way. You can be just as relaxed and calm as this little guy, who is very, very cozily nestled on my lap right now. And it's going to provide a nice purring soundtrack for Tent Talks Tunes. Let's see, we got some... Okay, Mike Harper's got a question. Just out of curiosity, why do you dislike any commercial rock bands like Korn or Pantera? They have some pretty quality music regardless of their popularity. Just wondering. That's a fair question. I'm just, for whatever reason it is, I am completely hardwired to automatically dislike music or culture or almost anything that is popular and mass accepted. I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. I was not born to be an overground type of guy. I was born to be a completely underground type of guy. A lot of the reason why and it's not even like I dislike those bands. Like I saw Korn play live at a venue in Danbury, Connecticut called Tuxedo Junction, and that show is off the hook. I mean, it was great. I saw Pantera play live in the late 90s at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. Good show. I think as far as those two bands go, I just don't really like the music that much. It could be argued that there's not a whole lot of difference between what I Hate God does and what Pantera does. I just find I Hate God to be more intelligent in their approach and a little more subtle. They've got a better groove. Pantera to me, they don't push my buttons. They don't float my boat. What can I tell you? I'm sure they're cool guys. I've never met any of them in person, but, you know, we've got mutual... There's like 1 or 2 degrees of separation between Anti-Scene and Pantera. So there's always been like a friendliness between the two camps. Phil Anselmo has been seen in public and on stage wearing an Anti-Scene t-shirt. I mean, the guy's obviously got good taste. I think that's really cool. But, I don't know, just something about the music doesn't grab me, and something about them being as popular and mainstream as they are just turns me off. So, there you have it. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Now, I will sort of elaborate on that a little bit. Being a cohort of Pissy Chrissy, a.k.a. Walker Cadillac, a.k.a. the very fine lady who is 1/3 of the reason why I moved to North Carolina in the first place. Oh, yes. Chrissy is a child of the 90s, and she grew up listening to lots of 90s country. She's a huge fan of alt-rock. She loves Marilyn Manson and Smashing Pumpkins. And she's turned me on to some pretty good mainstream music. Not going to deny it. There is some good stuff out there. But I got to circle back to the point that's just not my thing. My thing really is helping and exposing the bands and the artists who could use some help and could use some exposure. Korn does not need my help. Smashing Pumpkins do not need my help. Marilyn Manson's doing just fine in the publicity department. They don't need boosters. They've got their boosters who are paid huge sums of money to get their push. And that, of course, is another factor in my antipathy towards that, is I don't like the music industry. I do not like the major labels. I don't like the entire corporate structure that it's built on. And bands who are so firmly a part of that are part of something that I just plain old don't like. So, hope that answered your question. The hypothetical what if Pantera or Down or somebody said, hey, Anti-Scene, you want to tour with us? Of course we'd say yes. I would say yes. I would jump at the opportunity to do it. And I would probably really enjoy their performances every single night. You know, no doubt about it. Being there live and in person is where it's at. But there's just never going to be that lack of antipathy towards the corporate structure and just the plain old mainstream popularity of it that just rubs me the wrong way. What can I tell you? Sorry. All right. And Mike Harper said, very well answered, thanks. And that was a minute ago. So I guess my answer was adequate. Thanks for the question, Mike. Glad you liked the answer. Cheers to you. All right. Speaking of corporate structures and making money, let's do this week's topic of Tent Talks Tunes. I make my living by selling stuff. I got my Discogs, I got my eBay, I got my Bandcamp. I also make in-person appearances at record shows, punk rock gigs, swap meets, whatever, wherever. And I've got a couple of those coming up in January and February, which I'll be telling you about later. Excuse me. But yeah, I sell stuff that is not on my label, if you can believe that. So I got a stack of vinyl. And if you guys saw the photo that I posted earlier today that I used to tease Tent Talks Tunes, that is an actual picture of my living room. Those crates and crates and crates and shelves and shelves and shelves of records are the contents of my living room. Not a sofa, not a chair, not a table, certainly not a television set, but records. Lots and lots of records. That's what we call inventory. And I do like having it around because a record store is my happy place. And so I have a record store in my living room, which means I have an automatic happy place to live in. But when you get right down to it, the stuff doesn't do me any good just sitting there. It's fun to browse the bins and, you know, look at the record covers and play the stuff occasionally. But when you get right down to it, I got to put something in the bank account occasionally, you know. I can't take this Velvet Underground Squeeze Super Deluxe cassette to the town of Newton and say, hey guys, can I give you one of these in exchange for some credit on my phone bill or my electric bill or my gas bill? They just look at me and say, boy, you are crazy. So we have to do this means of exchange thing. I need to get dollars from you so I can take the dollars to the town of Newton and pay my electric bill. And hopefully you will find this item and some of the other items I'm going to tell you about worthy of giving me the bucks. So yeah, Velvet Underground Squeeze Super Deluxe Edition cassette. Now some of you folks might be Velvet Underground fans and you might wonder, Squeeze? What the heck is that? I don't recall any Velvet Underground album called Squeeze. Well, there was a Velvet Underground record called Squeeze. It came out in 1972. And the story of it is very interesting. I have talked about it on Tent Talks Tunes. Long story short, Velvet Underground, they started in 1965. The original drummer was Angus MacLeese. MacLeese quit. Maureen Tucker joined. A couple years later, John Cale, the bass player, was thrown out. Doug Yule joined. A couple years after that, Lou Reed quit. Walter Powers joined. A year after that, Sterling Morrison quit. Willie Alexander joined. So by a natural process of, right, you could say amputations, thank you, Lou Reed, by a series of amputations, the Velvet Underground became a completely different set of musicians in 1972 than it was in 1965. And they toured, and they cut some demos, and they were going to make an album that was going to be Squeeze. But due to managerial interference, the album ended up being made by Doug Yule, who was the guitar player and chief songwriter at that time, and Ian Pace from Deep Purple. The other three members of the Velvet Underground, Maureen Tucker, Walter Powers, and Willie Alexander, did not participate in the album. It came out only in Europe. It was in print for probably about 10 years. And then when the official Velvet Underground organization got organized and took control of the catalog, and then when I say official, I mean Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morrison, Maureen Tucker, and Doug Yule, they took control of the catalog, and all of a sudden Squeeze vanished. It was considered non-canonical. It was considered fake. It was not considered part of the catalog. And so it just kind of vanished. What's left behind is the fact that the record did come out. It does say Velvet Underground. And it's not a bad record. It's not a bad record at all. It's just stripped down, no nonsense, early 70s rock and roll. It's kind of in the vein of like Flamin' Groovies or perhaps NRBQ. It's not psychedelic, man. It's not overwrought blues. It's just straight ahead rock and roll. And it's been out of print for almost 40 years. Doug Yule said in an interview that I read recently that it will probably never be reissued because the record company is simply not interested. And I think if you read between the lines, because record companies are always interested. They'll put out anything they possibly can if they think they're going to sell some. I mean, Record Store Day, anybody? Come on, look at the stuff they dump on the market for Record Store Day. They'll sell anything they possibly think they can, which would include a reissue of the Velvet Underground Squeeze. I think the reality of it is that the official Velvet Underground organization is like, no, no, no. It does not have Lou Reed on it. Therefore, it's not the Velvet Underground. Therefore, hit the road, Doug. Anyway, this is the Super Deluxe Expanded Edition. It's got the complete album, plus a number of bonus cuts that were recorded with the full band. And I'll reiterate, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And I got it. And if you want it, it can be yours. $7. Send me a message or drop me a line or leave a comment. I have a few of them. Speaking of Velvet Underground, how about this one? Nico. Y'all are familiar with the Velvet Underground and Nico. Classic debut album from 1967. Well, how about Nico and the Faction from 1985? This was, I do believe, the last studio album she ever did. It was with her touring band, who are a British touring band. And it's about what you would expect from Nico. It is dark, It is creepy. It is desolate. It's got more of a full band sound and experience to it, a little more production, but it is still Nico to the core. And if you know where she's coming from and you like what she does as a solo artiste, odds are pretty good you're going to like this one. This is a factory sealed reissue. Mint condition, all over the place. Can be yours for an extremely low price of $22. I'll even take the price tags off of it. Here, I'll take the price tag off right now. Because I got this in trade at a fine record store in Pennsylvania. And there's no reason why they should have their price tags on your product, should you decide to buy it. Sealed, 22 bucks. Not sealed, but also wonderful. I have quite the selection of albums by Cale. Look at this. We got Words for the Dying. We got Caribbean Sunset. We got Guts. We got Music for a New Society. We also have a very cool 10-inch single called Suicide Theme from Process. Cale, world-class composer. Everybody knows about Lou Reed. A lot of people know about Nico. I don't think Cale has ever gotten his full due as being an absolutely brilliant composer, an extremely idiosyncratic performer, borderline nuts. But man, can the guy write and play. He's got a very continental sensibility, very European, very funny a lot of times, but also very dark at other times, and sometimes a real heady mix of the two. I love Cale's stuff, and it is a very, very safe bet to say that without Cale, the Velvet Underground would not have been what they were. He was an essential component. In fact, the original publishing company for Velvet Underground music on their first two albums, on White Light, White Heat, and the aforementioned Velvet Underground and Nico, aka the Banana album, the publishing company was called Three Prong Music. And the three prongs were Sterling Morrison, Lou Reed, and Cale. It's those three dudes that created the sound of the Velvet Underground, with Maureen Tucker's fantastic minimalistic tribal drumming just putting the bow on the whole package. So I'm very bullish on Cale. And I have several of these albums here. I mentioned before Guts, Music for a New Society, Caribbean Sunset, Words for the Dying, and the 10-inch single for the Suicide Theme from Process. All of them in fantastic condition. This one is Stone Cold Mint, never played, inventory from my old brick-and-mortar record store. These Cale records are a measly $15 each. Measly $15 each. And they will give you, I predict, hours and hours of pleasure, because they have given me, for sure, many hours of pleasure. I mean, if nothing else, look at that haircut. Is that a do or what? If I could still grow my hair like that, I'd probably wear my hair like that. Just saying. I'm going to take a swig of water. Talking about Cale. Whew, gets my larynx all tight. I'm going to reach over and hit the refresh button real quick, because as does happen sometimes when you're going out live on the Facebook, the comments stop appearing. So I want to make sure that I'm actually seeing everybody as they comment. There we go. There are some comments I did not see, but I will answer them in due time, I promise. All right, well, we talked about the Doug Yule version of the Velvet Underground. We talked about Cale. We talked about Nico. I guess it's fair, if we're on the sort of Velvet Underground tangent, that we should talk about Lou Reed himself. Yes, we definitely should talk about Lou Reed. It's been a bone of contention amongst educated Velvet Underground fans and ex-members that, Lou Reed didn't really write everything, that Cale and Sterling Morrison should have gotten more composing credit than they did, and so should Doug Yule also. He'll be the first to tell you. And when the Velvet Underground catalog of unreleased material started coming out, sure enough, you started seeing those names on the songwriting credits. You started seeing the names of Cale and Sterling Morrison And I think, Doug, you will popping up. It wasn't all just Lou Reed, Lou Reed, Lou Reed, Lou Reed. Nevertheless, no one's going to deny that Lou Reed did carry the workload. He was the workhorse songwriter of the Velvet Underground. And ultimately, he was the one who had the drive and the vision to make it happen. And it was his singing voice, his lyric voice, his idiosyncratic guitar playing. No one's ever going to deny that he was the focus of the Velvet Underground. So even though, when you get right down to it, I'm probably more of a John Cale fan than a Lou Reed fan, it does not mean I'm a Lou Reed hater. I dig me some Lou Reed. And so the Lou Reed estate has been coming out with this incredible series of reissues, not even reissues, just archival releases of unreleased music. And the first one, what do they call this thing? The Lou Reed Archives series, number 1, was a 1965 demo tape that he recorded and mailed to himself as a poor man's copyright thingy. It was just him on acoustic guitar, although I do believe that John Cale has a couple of contributions because they had already met by then and were working together. I think John Cale's got a little bit of input, but it's basically a Lou Reed solo acoustic demo from 1965. It's got the earliest versions of Heroin, Waiting for the Man, and very much surprising to hear a version of Pale Blue Eyes on here, because that song didn't even come out until 1968, 69. But he had it in the pocket before there even was a Velvet Underground. So really interesting stuff. It's a double record. It's got the complete 1965 solo acoustic demo. It's got other solo recordings from the late 50s. And it's really fascinating. It just goes to show that, yes, Lou Reed was the focus of the Velvet Underground, but he wasn't the whole thing. This stuff it's much more singer-songwriter, much more New York City folky. There's a lot of Bob Dylan influence on here. And as much bad blood as there was later between the Bob Dylan camp and the Velvet Underground camp, Lou Reed was just as much in thrall to Bob Dylan as anybody else was in New York City in 1965. And the songs prove it. So it's a really cool listen. The packaging is fantastic. This thing probably weighs about 5 pounds. It's a super deluxe gatefold die-cut sleeve. It's got a giant-sized booklet, 2 records. I mean, massive. It'll probably cost, I don't even know what to mail this thing, but we'll figure it out. $25. Factory sealed, original, brand new, never opened, never played. It could be yours because the price is definitely right. $25 for all this, even if you just weigh it up by the pound. You get a good bargain. I have, I think, 2 of these, maybe 3. So if you want one, the odds are good that you can have it. Just leave a comment, direct message me. As is my want, I will hook you up. Oh, yes. Mike Lesser says, waking up to tent, 7:48 a.m. in Thailand. Greetings from the other side of the world, Mike, the world traveler. There is a time when Mike Lesser was a gay cowboy in bondage, but now he is a globe trotter, a Vancouver globe trotter. And Mike takes no opportunity to miss Tent Talks Tunes. He takes every opportunity to catch it. An example that many people could and should live by. Lou Reed Archive Series number 3. I've talked about this one before. This is something that really resonates with my mummified, deep frozen heart. This is a double record of Lou Reed's singer-songwriter sessions from the Pickwick Music Mill. Oh, have I talked about this stuff so often. Long story short, Lou Reed was employed for a while at Pickwick Records. Pickwick was the king of the sleazy, cheesy, bang 'em out quick, get the buck as fast as you possibly can, exploitation album. If surf music was popular, they could write and record an entire album of surf music ripoffs in a day. If the Beatles were popular, they could and did dash out any number of low-budget cheeseball Beatles not even sound alike, because they don't sound anything like the Beatles, just terrible versions of Beatles music. And twist records, and I mean, saxophone instrumentals, whatever was popular at a given moment, they would crank out the cheapest facsimile possible and toss that out on the market. And Lou Reed worked for them and recorded 2 albums worth of this stuff. And it's got some like genuinely wild, insane stuff on here. The Primitives, the Ostrich, and Cycle Annie. I mean, Cycle Annie, by the Beach Nuts, could be a Velvet Underground song. Like 1969, 1970s era Velvet Underground. If Lou Reed had never met John Cale, they probably just would have continued. He probably would have continued making music like this. And here it is, before there even was a Velvet Underground. The Ostrich by the Primitives, that song is Loco en el Coco. It was actually released as a single. I have no idea why they thought they were going to release that song as a single and have a hit with it. But they did. The Roughnecks doing You're Driving Me Insane, kind of the same deal. And then you've just got these actually really good songs by Roberta Williams, the J Brothers, Spongy and the Dolls, and some of those cheesy cash-ins by the Surfsiders and the Beach Nuts. It's a real smorgasbord of good, bad, and awful. Lou Reed, early days, 1965, double record, sealed original, deluxe packaging, great liner notes. Corner's a little bit bent, but it still looks fine. And when you consider the price is only $15, who cares about a bent corner? Look at all this sealed Lou Reed multi-disc goodness. Right there. 8 pounds of vinyl, I guarantee it. They can be yours. Because I'll say it again, the price is right. Well, it's a lot of talk about the Velvet Underground. That just shows you how much I love the Velvet Underground. Did I mention that I love pins? That I am being a child of the late 70s and 80s punk rock scene, that I love pins and buttons. I was going through my garage the other day and I found this old display board of vintage pins and buttons from Trash American style. And they're kind of cool just sitting in my garage, but they would be much cooler on your shirt or your book bag or your backpack or your purse or your hat or wherever you would stick a button. These things would look a lot better stuck on you and yours than sitting in my garage. And what do we got here? We got stuff by, oh my gosh, Cause for Alarm, the Au Pairs, Blitz, Dead Kennedys, Killing Joke, Bob Marley, Green Day, Metallica, Susie and the Banshees, Radio Birdman, a lot of great stuff. Conflict, Lords of the New Church, a pin about mods, the Sex Pistols, Specimen, Echo and the Bunnymen, AC/DC, The Alarm, David Bowie. This is real button badge culture right here. And Trash American Style was forced out of our brick and mortar in the year 2007. So the absolute newest pin on here is 18 years old. And a lot of these go back a lot further, like the oversized Susie and the Banshees pin and some of the others. Those are authentic 80s pins. So if you're interested, I can take pictures and post them, or take pictures and send them to you directly. Prices, most of them are $1. I think the most is like that Susie one for $5. But that's a really good way to get good culture cheap, even if you don't like vinyl. Which I can't imagine, because why would you be watching Tent Talks Tunes if you didn't like vinyl? You know what I'm saying. So you have buttons between $1 and $5 each, between 18 and 40 years old. I love them, but I don't need them in my garage anymore. They need to be with you. Vinyl. We just broke down the Velvet Underground member by member. How about Devo? Ha, you knew Devo was going to come up at some point, didn't you? The two driving forces between Devo, Mark Mothersbaugh and Gerald V. Casale. And I have Hey, what do you know? This is kind of the theme of Tent Talks Tunes tonight. Factory sealed, brand new, unopened, unplayed, original vinyl by these guys. The first one is the Stone Cold Classic solo album by Gerald V. Casale. It originally was called Jihad Jerry and the Evildoers. I think it's just self-titled now. Okay, it's as it says on the hype sticker, the first solo album from Devo's Gerald V. Casale, a.k.a. Jihad Jerry and the Evildoers. There you go. With a bonus cut, red vinyl, different cover than it was originally, factory sealed, $10. $10! $10. I think it's a gatefold too. It's a gatefold. $10. How the heck are you going to do any better than that? And it's a great album. It's basically a late period Devo record. If you can get into stuff like Something for Everybody or Smooth Noodle Maps, you should be able to sink your teeth into this with no problem whatsoever. This record has gotten much, much, much play in my household since the day it first came out. It rocks from start to finish. Not a dud track on it. And at $10, factory sealed, unopened, really, are you going to do any better than that? Are you really going to do better than that? I doubt it. I doubt it very, very much. I really do. I really, really, really doubt it. I'm not going to say that the odds are 0, but I really doubt it. But don't worry. For all you Mark Mothersbaugh partisans out there, we've got a sealed double piece of vinyl. I'll read the hype sticker to you. This is Mark Mothersbaugh, and I know I'm going to get this wrong because I don't even come anywhere near to speaking fluent Japanese or even Pidgin Japanese, but Mark Mothersbaugh and Wataru Hokayama. This is a game soundtrack double album pressed on red and gold translucent blended vinyl. Oh, yes. And, limited edition, blah, 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 yak, yak, yak. Ratchet Clank, Rift Apart, original game soundtrack. Yes, Ratchet Clank, Game Apart, take 2. Ratchet Clank, Rift Apart, game soundtrack, double vinyl, deluxe packaging, deluxe colored vinyl. This one's a little bit more expensive, but still considering what you can and can't get for $25 these days, I'd say still a pretty darn good deal. $25, new, sealed. Imagine spending $35 to get 2 factory sealed, new, colored vinyl, gatefold cover records by anybody. Bargains galore here on Tent Talks Tunes. I got a few more here for you. These are not new, these are used. Well, actually, I'm going to take it back. I just randomly grabbed this out of the bin, and I was shocked and awed to simply lay my eyes on an original factory-sealed 1980 pressing of Double Fantasy by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. This is 100% Puka original. You will note that there's no UPC code on the back. That denotes it as original. Oh boy! Never came out as a gatefold, but I'm pretty sure it's got a lyric sleeve insert. And the record itself, pretty easy to find, but you don't find sealed ones very often, if at all. I don't know what to charge for this, but if you want it, let me know. We'll figure something out. I am a very ingenious sort of fella. And the companion piece to it is, of course, the Milk and Honey album. This is the album that Lennon was working on that was going to follow up Double Fantasy. Of course, we all know what happened, so it never came out. But this is a copy of his, this is his demos plus new material by Yoko Ono to make a perfect companion piece to Double Fantasy. And I do have open copies of this as well. So if you want to get your bookends for the John Lennon Yoko Ono late period collection, I got them. I got them. It's easily done, and they're quite affordable. $10. An open copy of Double Fantasy, $10. A sealed copy? I don't know. Grant Den makes a comment saying, kiss, 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 kiss me now. As we all know here on Tent Talks Tunes, pardon me while I scratch this guy. As we all know on Tent Talks Tunes, my specialty is the heretical statement. And I don't do it to be contrary. I don't do it to stir up arguments. It just so happens that my opinions, and this goes back to the question that was asked earlier, my opinions, for whatever reason, I don't know why, are almost always different than everybody else's. The stuff that I like is usually what nobody else likes. And it just always, always, always works out that way. I don't know why. I'm like Lady Gaga. I was born this way. I can't help it. But I'm here to tell you guys, the John Lennon songs on this record are certainly cool. They're certainly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But the Yoko Ono songs on this record kick ass. They are edgy. They're hard. They're new wave. Lyrically, they're cutting edge. I really think that her songs on this album are the stars of the show. I really, really believe that. I will pick up the needle several times when the John Lennon song comes up. But I love all the Yoko Ono songs on this record. Just telling it like it is, guys. Either way, it's a good record. And if your collection doesn't have it, it should. And you should get it from me, Malcolm Tent of Tent Talks Tunes. Just saying. And Grant Den says, quote, "That is certainly an opinion." I think that's probably the kindest way that your average Beatles fan would phrase it. So thank you for the kind opinion there, Grant. I do appreciate it. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up the stuff I got. As I mentioned before, I have about 3,000 records behind me, behind the divider that you can't see. So if you've got any last-minute Christmas shopping to do by mail, or if you want to arrange a local pickup in the greater Hickory and or Charlotte area, let me know. I got lots of stuff. And surfacing want lists is one of my great joys in life. Catch the rerun on my YouTube channel. It's right there. I'm easy to find. Malcolm Tent on YouTube. Please examine my website. It's full of very interesting content that you do not get on Facebook or Instagram, malcolmtent.net. The requisite Discogs, eBay, and Bandcamp. Look up TPOS on these three fine platforms. That is me. And of course, my empty mailbox, P.O. Box 173, Newton, North Carolina, 28658. Thanks, guys, for tuning in and hanging out with me. Even if you don't want to buy anything, it's fun to talk about the music. I really enjoy waxing rhapsodic about the songs, the artists, the objects. It's what I do. That's why I'm in this business, because it's so much fun and I enjoy it so much. And I enjoy sharing my opinions with all of you guys. So I do hope to be back in 167 hours. Although as I take it back, as I think about it, Commerce Day is 1 week from today. So I'm not sure. There are family festivities for Commerce Day. The family still calls it Christmas, but we know what I'm talking about. There are family festivities on Commerce Day, but they might be done by 7 o'clock next week. So odds are fair that I'll be on next week. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy the season. Hope you're having a holly jolly merry ho 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 and that all is well. And that you get what you want and that you give what people need and want. And that we'll all be back here in about 167 hours time. So until we meet again, this is indeed Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Tar Heel State.